what is the business. Okay, so about special business, everything that is given in there will be clearly given, so that the members are in the time, in the mindset of when the meeting is conducted, then these people will be in the position of understanding and analyzing whether to pass the resolution or not. Therefore, every minute detail will also be given in the explanatory statement. Like, for example, suppose the proposed business has some kind of director's interest in that, some kind of officers of the companies have interest in that, what kind of interest they have, why are we entering into this business, what benefit we can have out of the business. All of this will be given earlier to the members through the notice only, so that when they come to the AGM, they'll be in a position to properly think and pass the resolution. So that is the reason we classify it into ordinary business and special business. Suppose by any reason, okay, we don't classify it like that. Okay, for any reason, we don't classify the business, if you don't give the explanatory statement for special business, and by chance any promoter, director, anybody makes any benefit, then they have to return back all the benefit to the members of the company. Okay, and obviously they'll be punished also for that. All right, so this was all what we did in the previous class. And then I had also asked you to do some of the questions for practice. Did you all do that? I think few questions I did and few I asked you to do. Okay, that was with respect to quorum of the general meeting. Did you complete it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what do you mean by quorum is also what is discussed. Minimum number of presence, person should be personally present to conduct the meeting. So when the meeting will begin, you will wait for half an hour for the quorum to come. If the quorum is not present within half an hour, you will adjourn the meeting. If the BOD decides the time for the next meeting, fair enough. If not, it will be conducted on the same day, time, and time and venue in the next week. Okay, and suppose in the adjourned meeting also the quorum is not present, then the people present there will be formed as a quorum and they will transact the businesses in the meeting. Okay, so this is all what we studied in the previous session. Okay, everybody?
Yes.
So I believe everybody has done all the case study, that is case study up to 7.12G, KMN Limited. Did you all complete that? That is important examination question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Okay, so now let us continue with the next one. That is section 104, chairman of the meeting. Okay, now tell me, when the meeting is conducted, you always require a leader. You always require a head, because there are a lot of people present in there. So there should be some person who has to give some kind of direction. That is to move on, whether to accept, to reject, to somehow monitor the business, somehow to monitor the meeting. So that person, we consider him and call him to be the chairman of the meeting. So who will be the chairman? In the articles of the company, in the articles of association of the company, usually it will be clearly given who can become the chairman of the company. Okay, or what will be the procedure for appointment of the chairman. But if suppose your articles of association do not speak anything about appointment of chairman, then what will happen is the shareholders, that is the members, in the annual general meeting or the general meeting, will appoint one among themselves to be the chairman of the company. Okay, like for example, we all are seated together, we are attending a meeting, then we'll first check the articles of the company. In the articles, is there any provision for the appointment of chairman? If it is there, we'll strictly follow that. If it is not there, then all of us together will choose one amongst us to become the chairman. And this will happen by show of hands. Show of hands means raising your hands and giving your verdict, that is giving your answer. That is called show of hands. So you will vote on show of hands and choose one of us, that is one amongst you, to be the chairman. Okay, but then there are few people who will not be happy with that chairman. So they can demand for a poll. Okay, now what is show of hands, what is poll, I'll teach you after some time, where you'll understand these two are the methods of voting. What happens in show of hands is one person will get only one vote. Okay, irrespective of the shareholding that you have. So even if you're holding 2% of the shareholding, you will have only one vote. And even if you're holding one share, you will have only one vote. So irrespective of whatever shareholding you have, every person in the general meeting will have only one voting right. Okay, so what will happen is sometimes it so happens that when it is done by show of hands, some people will not be happy with it. So what they will do, they will demand for a poll. That means in poll, when voting is conducted, it will be with respect to the paid up capital that you hold. It will be in proportionate of your shareholding. So obviously the 2% shareholder will have much more voting right than the individual shareholder. Okay, so that will be based on the shareholding. So therefore, what happens is some people can demand for poll. Okay, who can demand for poll? I'll teach you later. So imagine we are eligible to demand for poll. So we demanded a poll, and poll will take some time. It is not going to happen immediately. Poll is a procedure. So it will take some time. So what will happen is the chairman who is appointed on show of hands will take his position and start the business. Then once the chairman through the poll is decided, then he will take over the meeting. But suppose if two transactions were already passed under this chairman, you cannot cancel them. That means you cannot say now I am the chairman, we are going to pass the resolutions again. No. What resolutions are already passed under the existing chairman on show of hands, that will remain intact. When the new chairman will be appointed, he will take the position and he will become the chairman only from that point in time. That means the resolutions already passed cannot be changed by the new chairman. Okay. And then for the remaining part of the meeting, he will continue to be the chairman of the company. Sorry, chairman of the meeting. Is the concept understandable, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So all of you, please come to page 7.19, chairman of the company. First, understand you have to look into the articles of the association of the company. If articles are precisely giving you something, you're going to strictly follow that. If that is not given, then the provisions will come into picture. Okay. Unless the articles of the company otherwise provide, the members personally present at the meeting shall elect one among themselves to be the chairman thereof on show of hands. Members personally present. So will the proxy be allowed to be the chairman?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay, next. If a poll is demanded on election of chairman, it shall be taken forthwith in accordance with the provisions of this act, and the chairman elected on the show of hands shall continue to be the chairman at the company until some other person is elected as chairman as a result of poll, and such other person shall be the chairman for the rest of the meeting. You can have an imagination in your mind, you'll not forget it. Okay, everybody, I'll give you 2 minutes time. Read the summary of section 104 by yourself. After you finish reading, please remember to ping me because I'll be waiting to look at your reply. Okay. At least 2 or 3 have to reply so that I get a clear understanding that you're reading it. Okay, let us continue. Let us move on to the next one, that is section 105, proxy. Okay, in exam, you can expect a question from proxies as a part of case study. Okay, they will give you a case study and they'll ask you whether he can be appointed as the proxy or not, whether eligible for proxy or not, and all of that. Of poll or show of hand will be done. No, Farwa, it's always a rule that first you demand for show of hand. First, always there is going to be show of hands. If things cannot happen through show of hands, then those people will demand for poll. Okay, so first always we follow show of hands. If show of hands is not acceptable by the members, they demand for poll. Okay, so show of hands you can say is always there. Poll will be only if it is demanded. Okay, all right. So let us continue. Proxies. So can you tell me what you mean by the term proxy? Where have you come across the term proxy?
Substitute.
Substitute, good answer. Okay.
Representative.
Yes, Hussain?
Representative.
Representative could not be exactly correct, okay? Because in law, representative means something else. Okay? Proxy and representatives are two different concepts, okay, Hussain?
Replacement.
Replacement, okay. Finally, Sashikaran spoke, okay. In place of another agent, very good, okay. All right. Now, in company law, we have a concept of proxy, okay. What do you mean by proxy is any member who is having a right to attend the general meeting and to vote at the meeting will also have one more right, and the right is to appoint proxies. That means if he cannot attend the meeting or if he does not want to attend the meeting, then he can appoint some other person to come and attend the meeting on his behalf. Okay, that person will be acting in the capacity of the main member. So we can say that he's going to be the agent of the member and he will come and attend the meeting. This person who's attending the meeting, we call him to be what? Proxy. Okay, now proxy is also termed to be the form. Okay, the word proxy is also used for the form that you fill for the purpose of appointing somebody else to be present there instead of you. Okay, but proxies are not allowed for every type of company. Like for example, a company not having share capital, okay, they will not be allowed to have proxy. A company which is not having share capital, that means no share capital is there, they're only members in the company, then you will not have proxies appointed. That will not be allowed, it will be void. Okay. Second, in case of Section 8 companies, that is not for profit organizations, those kind of companies, they can appoint proxies, but the proxy should not be an outsider. The proxy should not be an outsider. What do you mean by this? Suppose we all today in this meeting are the members of a Section 8 company. Okay. I will not attend the meeting. So what I will do is I cannot appoint proxy as any other person other than us. So my proxy will be one amongst you only. That means somebody outsider cannot attend the meeting in case of a Section 8 company. Even the proxy should be the member only. Only then he can be acting in two capacities, one in by himself and second on behalf of somebody else. Okay. Now, as per the company law, one person can act as proxy for 50 members. For how many members? 50 members. Or less, at least it should be less than, the total aggregate should not be more than 10% of the total share capital. So 50 members, total 10% of the share capital. Both are cumulative conditions. Suppose if only one person is holding 10%, you can be proxy only for 1%. Okay. Now, suppose there is one person who is holding 15% of the capital. He's holding 15% of the share capital. If he wants to appoint a proxy, then he can appoint only one person as the proxy, and that person cannot act proxy for any other member. Okay. So what we say is, suppose if there is one person appointed for 2 or 3 people together, you appoint, we have no problem. But the aggregate should not cross more than 10% of the share capital. Okay. But then those shareholders who are holding more than 10%, they are allowed to appoint one proxy. But that one proxy will not act for any other member. Okay. So these conditions you have to keep in mind. If you're standing for multiple people, not crossing together 10%. If only for one person, more than 10% can be crossed, but then you cannot be proxy for any other member for sure. Okay. Then the proxy forms, that is the form that you fill up for proxy, should be deposited with the company at least 48 hours before the general meeting. At least 48 hours. If you do not do that, that proxy will not be valid. That means that person will not be appointed to attend the general meeting. Okay. Now, can you tell me what will be the right of a proxy? Do you think the proxy will be allowed to vote on show of hands?
No, ma'am.
So the answer should be yes, no, don't know. If you are mute, I'll also become mute.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So can the proxy demand for a poll?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Can a proxy be counted for quorum?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Can the proxy speak at the meeting?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Then why you want proxy? If you are not giving him any right, why proxy will come?
To
Or why
attend the
will
meeting.
appoint proxy? Why?
Ma'am, to attend the meeting.
Correct, but then you're not giving any right to that person, no? Then what is the use of this proxy?
You will convey what has happened in the meeting.
Actually, that will anyway understandable by him. No, minutes of the meeting will be there. Minutes of the meeting are there, right? So he'll anyway understand. So can you all correct your answer? What went wrong?
Ma'am, proxy only cannot vote for the resolution.
He can vote for the resolution, but he cannot vote on show of hands, but he can vote on a poll. All those who said he cannot vote on poll, bad show. Okay, and all those in the chat box have replied he can demand for poll, very good. Okay, he can demand for poll and vote on a poll. He will not vote on show of hands. He will not speak at the meeting. He will not be counted for quorum, agreed. But there is some right which you give the proxy. Otherwise, why will any member appoint a proxy? The only reason is because he is holding share capital. He has something which is, connected to the share capital, that is a voting right. So in some places, there could be a possibility of exercising voting right through a poll. So proxy will be allowed to demand for a poll and vote on a poll as well. Otherwise, presence of proxy becomes irrelevant. Are you understanding? Clear, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So all of you, please remember this. And all those who gave wrong answer, never this answer should come again. Okay. Now, in the notice that you give to the meeting, or about the meeting you give to the members, in that notice, you have to very clearly mention that members can appoint the proxy. Okay. So in the notice of the general meeting, very clearly it should be mentioned that the members will be allowed to appoint a proxy. Okay, and then the proxy forms will be available online. You need to fill up them, send it, register it with the company, and then on the date of general meeting, the proxy can attend the meeting. Okay, then one more very important thing is, suppose you appoint a proxy. Suppose I have appointed Nitya to be my proxy. So Nitya reaches Delhi for the general meeting, and to her surprise, even I am there in the general meeting. So tell me, will the company tell me to come in or Nitya to come in?
Proxy.
You, ma'am.
Ma'am, you, ma'am.
Yes, Piyush?
Ma'am,
Okay.
proxy.
Okay. The answer to this is the member will be allowed to come in. Proxy will be relevant only if the member is not present. What is the meaning of proxy? You come in the place of the member. And if member is coming, from where proxy comes? So even if the proxy form is deposited, rightly everything is correct. And if the member turns up for the meeting, company cannot say the member to go out, right? Therefore, the member will be attending the meeting and the proxy will get revoked. There will be revocation of proxy. Is the concept understandable? Yes, Piyush? Okay, good. All right. So all of you, please come to your textbooks, page 7.20. Okay, first three paragraph, first two, you don't have to read it. That you can read at home also. That's pretty simple. I want you to read restriction on proxy. Only read restrictions on proxy and mark it important for the examination. Done, everybody? Any doubt in that point? Okay. Okay. All of you, please come to the next one there. Deposit of proxy forms. Okay. Read the next one as deposit of proxy forms. How much time will be allowed? Yes, Sumaya, they can, okay, they can appoint the outsiders. Usually outsiders only are appointed as proxy. Okay, usually. But only Section 8 company does not allow the outsiders. Okay. Farwa, no. Reason being he has to vote on poll. Okay, so we cannot consider it to be relevant. And proxy is like a contract, no? He's incompetent. Yeah. Done, everybody? Good. Okay. Now, in the same way, go to the last point. That is no special requirement in proxy form. That you just have to remember that MGT 11 is for proxy. Okay. So the form that you have to file for proxy will be MGT 11. And what is important here is disability of proxy. A proxy has no right to speak at the meeting. A proxy cannot vote on show of hands. A proxy is not counted for the purpose of quorum, because in quorum we saw that the member should be personally present. Okay, then a proxy has the right to attend the meeting, obviously. A proxy has the right to vote on poll, yes. A proxy, if eligible under section 109, has the right to demand for poll. What is eligibility under 109? That we will do when we do the entire topic of poll together. That I will understand that one individual person cannot demand for poll. He should have some kind of shareholding with him. If he has the minimum shareholding with him, only then he can demand for a poll, and then the poll will be taken. Okay. So what is that when we come to section 109? Okay. Then inspection of Sarvani, no, not minor cannot be appointed as proxy. Okay. Because proxy is almost like a contract, and this is incompetence. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Inspection of proxies. That means how many proxies are appointed, who has been appointed as the proxy, everything will be allowed. An inspection any member can do of the proxies. Okay. And the last one is revocation of proxy, which I told you very clearly that if the member by himself attends the meeting, the proxy will stand revoked. Okay. Take 1 minute's time and read both inspection of proxies and revocation of proxies. Aditya, yes, because conditions will be given in the proxy form, MGT 11. So obviously there has to be unconditional. Okay. If you're done, I believe everybody's completed. I want you to come to the same page, question 7.14a. Okay. You will do A, B, and C. Okay. All the three. A, B, and C, do all the three. Farwa, they'll inspect who are the proxies, are they eligible for appointment, when they were appointed, for how many people is one proxy there. Okay, he's holding for how many people. Okay, then his details about who he is, everything will be given in the proxy form. Okay, so all this is called as inspection. Yeah. Please do all the 3 questions. And if you finish all the 3 questions, please ping me here. I'll tell you which is the next question you have to do. If it is not clear, not understandable, let me know. And these questions, do them perfectly. Exam, if this question comes, they'll be verbatim. It'll be like a bonus. They will only change the name of the person or name of the company, but the language and everything will remain same. You'll feel as if you have done it. And it's very easy to score in the examination. So now when I'm giving you time in the examination, do it for the exam only. Okay, so do it correctly. And don't look at the answer. Yes, I want people to reply back if they're done. So if you're done, we'll continue. I'm trying to do maximum questions in the class. I rarely believe giving homework because I know you have multiple things to be done at home. It is not going to be possible for you to do everything. That is the reason I'm sparing time in the class so that when you're doing something, do it perfectly. So backside, when I'm not able to see you, see that you don't waste time. Okay, this time you won't get again. Okay, so if you're done, okay, yes, if you're done, please come to the next page. Question number 7.14G. 7.14G, June 2009, modified. And please do not see at the answers. First, you frame the answer and then cross-verify with the answers. Okay. Done, everybody? Okay. Now what you will do is the question 7.14D, mark it for homework. 7.14D. Please mark it for homework. And I'm asking you to mark for homework because it is going to take some time for you to do it. And this is the kind of question which comes for 6 marks. Okay, it's a proper case study which could come for more number of marks. And that is the reason, please do it very carefully and very systematically. So question 7.14D is your homework. Okay, everybody? All right. So let us move on with the next one. That is, now we completed proxy. Okay. Similar, but not the same. Similar to proxy, we have one more concept called as representatives. It is called as representative. Okay. Sometime back when Hussein answered about representative, I told it has a different meaning in company law. Okay. Can any of you here tell me what do you mean by representative? Is he a proxy or is it something else? What do you think is a representative? In the meeting, representative can attend a meeting. Who could be a representative? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Then why are you people not audible to me?
I'm of a company.
Yes, Nitya?
I'm representative for a company.
Representative for a company. Okay. Hussein? Yes. Who would be a representative?
Representative of any personal, like famous personalities.
Okay. All right. All right. Now, to give you all the answer to this, and yes, Tarun is perfectly right. Now, we have government companies and all of that, where government is also a shareholder. Okay, you have the central government to be the shareholder, you have state government to be the stakeholder, the president of India will be the shareholder. Okay, so now you can't expect them to come and attend the general meeting, right? So what they will do, they will appoint one person. They will appoint one person to become the representative. That is to attend the meeting on their behalf. That person will be called as what? Representative. But he is not a proxy at all. He will have all the rights, all the duties, same like that of the member of the company. Because the president cannot attend the meeting, he will send his representative. He is not a proxy. He is the representative of the president. That means he is just filling the place of president in the meeting. Therefore, every right which a member right to vote on the meeting also, he has have the right to attend the meeting also, be counted for quorum also, everything. Okay, because he will be considered to be what? A person personally present. Similarly, we see subsidiary company. So the holding company will have the shareholding in subsidiary. That means subsidiaries shareholders will be a company. So now company is an artificial person. Is it a real person? No. Therefore, can these people come and attend the meeting? No. So what companies will do is they will appoint one representative who is going to go and attend the meeting on behalf of the company. So they will be termed as representative and they will have all the rights, all the duties of that of a member. So therefore, representative and member is not going to be the same. Okay, because proxy has limitation on his right. Proxy will be appointed in place of a member. Here, this person is representing the member. That means if I come, it is as good as the president has come. If I come, it is as good as central government has come. If I come, X Limited has come. It's like that. So he will have all the rights, all duties, mutatis mutandis, like the member of the company. Is the logic understandable, everybody? So there is no comparison between a representative and a proxy. Simple, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So all of you, please complete reading representative. Do not take more than 2 minutes, okay? Can everybody? Okay, good. Now, tell me, if suppose you have 10 shares, 10 voting rights with you. You have 10 voting rights with you. Is it required that you use all the votes?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Can you vote few yes, few no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So choice is completely yours. How many voting rights you use, there is no restriction on you. If you want to not cast all the votes, like out of 10, you don't want to give all the 10 votes, no problem. Give only one vote, no problem. And you can give 5 yes, 5 no, no problem. Nobody can restrict your right of voting. You can use your rights differently. You can use your voting rights differently. Is that okay, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So that don't have to read it. Okay, this simply says that. And obviously your voting rights will differ with your shareholding only for poll. On show of hands, this will not matter because one person, one vote. Correct? This will matter only if it happens with poll, where depending upon the shareholding, your voting right will be up and down. Okay? So they say on poll being taken, a member or proxy need not use all his votes or cast in the same way all the votes. Okay, so did not be like it should be in the same manner. Now, can you restrict a person's voting right? Can you stop a person who is eligible for voting from voting in a meeting? For example, suppose it is like this, that Nitya is the shareholder. She's an equity shareholder and she has the right to vote. But then I have imposed restriction. Nitya will not vote in the coming AGM. Is it possible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, when can that be possible, Ashrita?
Ma'am, if there is outstanding of share amount by that person.
Yeah, so what do you call it to be?
Call in arrears.
Very good. Calls in arrears. Okay. So if there are calls in arrears due from that person, then the company can restrict. Or there is any amount due by that person, then you can restrict. Sometimes the company will have lien on shares. Tarun, you need to mute. You need to mute your mic. Yeah. Okay. Suppose there is sometime going to be the lien on shares. Lien on shares means what will happen? You owe some money to the company and you're not paying. Then the company will exercise lien, control over your shares. Okay. So that is called as lien on shares. Okay. So if you have any of these, like calls in arrears or lien on shares have been done, then company can restrict your voting right, will not be allowed to vote. Other than these two, there cannot be any other restriction imposed by the company on your voting right. That means company cannot stop you from voting when you're eligible for voting. Okay, that means if you have a right, it cannot be stopped unless only two things. Either there is lien exercised by the company or there is calls in arrears or some amount which you have to pay to the company if still not paid. Then the company can exercise what? Right, restriction on the right to vote. Okay, everybody. So all of you, please come to page 7.23. They say that there has to be an express provision in the articles. Okay, that means clearly given in the articles that the voting rights can be restricted. What will be the valid grounds? Only two valid grounds are there for rejection. That is calls in arrears or any sum payable by the member have not been paid. And second, company has or exercised any right of lien on shares. So only for these two things, you can exercise right of lien, restriction on voting right. Otherwise, no restriction at all, absolutely. And this restriction also will happen only and only if you have given in your articles of association. Otherwise, even that will not be possible. Is the concept clear, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
of you, please come to question number 7.17b. 7.17b. Please do it by yourself. 7.17b. It will be proportionate Vashri. So what you are telling is also absolutely right, but there is some kind of calculation based on that. Okay, that we proportionate on the shareholding pattern. Okay, so we get proportionate voting right. So if it is coming as 0.1%, then out of the total votes, 0.1 will be yours.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. What you are saying is also not wrong. They can give it per share also.
Okay, ma'am.
If you're done with that, you will also do 7.17C. Yeah, Satvik, 1 second. 7.17B. Okay. Just give me 1 second. Huh? Okay, 7.17B. The articles of ABC Limited provided that only those shareholders would be entitled to vote whose names have been there on the register of members for 2 months before the date of the meeting. X, a member of ABC Limited, was holding 200 equity shares of the company. X transferred his shares to Y before 1 month from the date on which the meeting was due. The name of Y could not be entered in the register of members as the application of transfer of shares was pending. X attended the meeting, but he was prohibited by the company from exceeding his voting right on the ground that he has not held the shares for specified period as provided in the articles before the date of the meeting. Whom the shares were transferred to? X transferred. Okay. So X attended the meeting. State whether X can exercise his voting right in the meeting. State also the grounds upon which X may be excluded from exercising his voting right in the meeting of the shareholders. See, here there is no reason why X should be denied because he is the shareholder. As per the articles, what is it given? That you need to be the shareholder at least 2 months before the date of the meeting. So if you were the shareholder 2 months before the date of the general meeting, obviously X was the shareholder. So in this meeting, he will definitely be allowed to come and also attend and also vote at the meeting. Okay? Because he's not going to be proxy that time. He's going to be the member itself. And how can exercise, what is the next question? State also the grounds upon which X may be excluded from exercising his voting rights in the meeting. Okay, now look at the answer. X is entitled to vote, obviously. Why? Since a company cannot restrict the voting right of a member on any ground other than ground specified under section 106. That means the restriction on voting right can happen only for 2 reasons. One is calls in arrears, other is exercising right of lien. Other than that, have they given any other thing? No. And here they're very clearly telling about the company's articles also that in the articles, all those members who were registered as members 2 months before the meeting will be allowed to attend the meeting and vote at the meeting. So obviously in every angle, X is entitled to attend the meeting and also vote at the meeting. You cannot stop him to vote for any reason other than given in 106. And in 106, we have only 2 reasons. So can he be restricted? No. If there has to be a restriction, only 2 things. Either calls in arrears or right of lien on shares. Yes, Satvik?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Is there anybody having any other doubt? See, unless and until you go through such kind of questions in examination, suddenly this question comes, you don't even know what to do. Okay, which part it is being questioned. That is the reason we are doing every kind of case study, so that in the exam, from where it is appearing, you can clearly highlight and you can understand, yeah, this question is meant to be given answer in that perspective. Okay, so it becomes very simple to analyze in the examination. Okay, on the same thing, do 7.17D also. I wanted to see the variety of questions for this particular topic. The section is so small, 106, but see the way the questions are given, the way they make the question, the easy provision also looks difficult then. Okay, the question is given in a very different manner, complicated manner, and the simple provision to write becomes difficult. Okay, so see the variety of questions, do 7.17D also. Yes, Hussein, that is the reason law will prevail. Yes, Hussein, that is the reason law is prevailing there, right? Articles should be in, what to say, within the limit of law, within the purview of law. Once done, please ping me back. Okay, don't think somebody else will reply to me. If you are finished, you reply. Okay, okay, good. So let us continue. No doubt, absolutely. So did you see the variety of questions appearing for the same topic? Good. Okay, all right. So let us continue. Now comes to all the types of voting, how voting is done, how voting can be taken. What do you mean by voting by poll? Okay, what are the types of resolutions? How do we pass resolutions, etc. Yes, Deepak?
Ma'am, November 2018.
Okay. You want the
Ma'am,
answer?
ma'am, he has not paid the call money.
He's not read. I'll just read the question. I'm not ready. Just read it. You can mute yourself. I'll get back to you.
Yes.
X, a member of LKM Limited, is holding 250 shares, which are partly paid. The company held its general meeting where voting right was denied to X, claiming that he has not paid the calls on shares held by him. Examine the validity of the company's denial to X with reference to the relevant provisions of the Companies Act 2013, assuming that articles of association of the company do not restrict the voting right of such members. See, the first thing is very important here to understand. Only if it is given in your articles, you can restrict. Those two grounds also will be allowed only if it is given in the articles. So the way you read the question should be what? First thing is it given in the articles? Yes. Then only two reasons to restrict. One will be calls in arrears. Other will be right of lien on shares. If nothing is given in the articles, you cannot restrict only for any other ground. For any ground, in fact, calls in arrears also you can't restrict. Right on lien on share also you can't restrict. So where is the first thing you have to look at it for? Articles of association. Because express provision, very clearly written in the articles that company should allow restriction on voting rights. If it is given in articles, then you look into the grounds. If nothing is given in the articles, grounds are not coming in only. Yes, Deepak?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So the question here is very, very intelligently given. Whole question, not till the end, till the Companies Act 2013 will see that, yeah, company is right. But then assuming that articles of association, when that question comes, the entire question changes. Because if the articles are silent, you cannot restrict the voting rights at all. Be it on any grounds, restriction cannot happen. If you just turn back your page and you come to section 106, look at the first thing there, manner of imposing restriction. So what have you to do for imposing restriction? Give an express provision in the articles to restrict the voting right. That means it should be clearly given in the articles. If it is not given, you cannot restrict only the voting right. Be whatever ground. Now clear, Deepak?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Hussain?
I'm in this 7.17b question. The articles have imposed restrictions which are against the valid grounds, right?
Correct, yeah.
So how can articles impose such restriction?
Yeah, therefore we already studied, no? We have still not taken incorporation of company. Always understand memorandum and articles will always be, should be within the ambit of law. And if they are in contravention with the law, law will prevail. Yes, Hussain? So if their provision is going against law, we are not going to consider the provision at all. The law only will be prevailing.
Yes, ma'am.
Got it now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because overriding effect is always going to be there. The Companies Act will override what is given in the memorandum and article if it is in contravention with the act. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let us start with the voting. Okay. Now tell me, how many types of votings are there?
2.
Yes, how many? 2. Okay. Varun, think again. Ashita, think again. Hussain, think again. How many voting types we have? All those who are answering 2, think again. Hussain thought again, he got the correct answer. Good. Sarvani, correct. Others? Good, Viresh. Okay. So there are 3 types of voting that you can do. First is show of hands, which is very common and the first thing that we take up always. Then there is demanding for poll. And third, we have a concept of voting through postal ballot. What is postal ballot? I will take you through later when I teach you the entire concept of how voting is conducted through a postal ballot. Just to give an introduction or idea about it, where we want maximum people to participate in voting, we will send postal. That is via post, we are going to send the resolution. You have to vote on the resolution and send the post back to the company. Okay, so this will be done. General meeting will not be conducted, but resolution will be passed by sending the resolution to all the shareholders. They have to pass yes or no and give it back to the company. So without conducting the meeting, also resolution can be passed, and that will happen through a postal ballot. For there are limited purposes where you can use postal ballot. When I do that topic, I'll teach you that separately. Okay, so understand there are 3 ways through which voting can be done. A resolution can be passed. First is the show of hands. Second is voting by a poll, that is you need to demand a poll. And third is voting through postal ballot. Okay, now first one, in show of hands, it is 1 person, 1 vote. Okay, now when the chairman counts the vote and passes the resolution and enters the resolution in the minutes of the meeting, that means resolution is passed. Resolution is passed. That means tomorrow, nobody can say there was wrong counting of number of hands. Nothing doing. Once it has been entered in the minutes book, there will be no question on counting of the number of hands. So when do you say that the resolution by show of hands is complete? When people raise their hands, that is on show of hands. The entry to that effect is made in the minutes book. That will be enough. Once it enters in the minutes book, that means the resolution is finalized. Tomorrow, if somebody says, no, the counting went wrong, nothing doing, it is appearing in the minutes of the meeting. It has been written by the chairman of the meeting, over. That will be the conclusive evidence that resolution has been passed. Okay, then there is a concept called as voting by a poll. That means what happens sometimes is people do not want show of hands, because very simple logic, irrespective of your shareholding pattern, you will get only one person, one vote. So what happens is there can be demanding of poll. Now, who can demand for poll? Two categories. One, chairman himself can demand for a poll. Suo moto. Chairman says for this, no show of hands, will go for poll. Over. Whose decision it is? Chairman. So chairman will suo moto, that is by himself, demand for a poll. Second, members can demand for a poll. But any small number of persons cannot ask for a poll, right? Because poll is a very lengthy process. So the law has given you some kind of limitations. If you come in that category, you will be eligible to demand for a poll. And you all know that proxy also will be eligible to demand for a poll, right? Now, so what do you say? Who can order for poll? If a company is a company which is having share capital, then any member or members, either proxy or person that is personally present or proxy, holding 1/10 of the total voting power or share capital worth ₹5 lakh or such higher amount as may be prescribed. 1/10 of the voting power or share value should be 5 lakh or such higher amount as may be prescribed. So higher amount as of now, it's not relevant because nothing else is given. It is 5 lakh. So if one person is holding paid up value of 6 lakhs, he alone can demand for poll. And if not, together he should be in a position of 1/10 of your voting power. If the company is having share capital. And if the company does not have share capital, then the second category will get over anyway. 5 lakh share capital won't come. It will be only 1/10 of the voting power. Okay. So if you have that much holding with you, or together bring people, form a group having total of 1/10 of the voting power, then you can demand for a poll. Then fourth demand, the poll will be taken, and then the resolution that will be passed through a poll that will be finalized. Okay. Now, what is the poll? A poll is an electronic process. Okay. It happens through postal papers also, but now it is all electronic. Otherwise, what will happen is you will have to enter your answer on a chit, and the chit will be one big box will be kept in there. You go and deposit your chit in the box. Okay. And then scrutinizers will be appointed by the chairman. Scrutinizers are usually all these qualified people like chartered accountants, cost accountants, all. These people will look after the polling process. They will, break open the box. They will do the counting. And ultimately, they will inform the chairman about the resolution. Then the chairman will enter the resolution in the minutes of the meeting, and then it will be finalized. Okay. So this is the concept that happens with a poll. Now, poll in two situations will happen forthwith. Forthwith means in that meeting only. Forthwith means in that meeting only you take up the poll. Two categories. One is appointment of chairman. When you appoint a chairman on show of hands and you're not okay with it, and you demand for a poll, then poll cannot be delayed. Immediately poll has to be taken. So poll will be taken forthwith. Or adjournment of general meeting. If your general meeting is adjourned, for that you need to vote. And that voting on poll will also happen immediately. Okay. For all the other reasons, poll can be taken within 48 hours from the demand of poll. That means now you demand for poll, within 48 hours, poll has to be taken. That means the meeting will get over, but the result of the poll will come after the meeting is over, which will be communicated to the shareholders through some of the communication methods. Okay. And these scrutinizers will be the people appointed by the chairman, to look after the entire process of polling. Then they will count the votes which are in, which are against, and then they will give all the answer of, what resolution has been passed. They will inform the chairman. The chairman will declare the resolution. Then the resolution will be entered in the minutes of the meeting, and that will be finalized. Okay. So this entire process, we call it as poll. In poll, understand, one single shareholder will not get a power. Either you are a single shareholder having 5 lakh or more share capital, or if you are having less than 5 lakh, then you should bring in together all those people and your aggregate should be more than 1/10 of the voting power. Only then you can demand for a poll. And other thing is a chairman can suo moto declare or call for a poll. Is the concept simple, everybody? Okay. So all of you, please come to page 7.24. Manner of voting in general meeting. They very clearly told you that at a general meeting, a resolution shall be decided on show of hands.
Yeah.
Yes, Hussain? Okay. At a general meeting, a resolution shall be decided by show of hands unless a poll is demanded or voting is carried out electronically under section 108. Okay. Then the declaration of result of resolution on show of hands by chairman, an entry to that effect in the minutes book shall be conclusive evidence of the fact. No proof of number of votes cast in favor and against of the resolution is required. Okay. And when the poll is deemed to be taken, okay, so when the poll is taken, then all the result of the poll will be deemed to be the result of the meeting. Okay, that means when poll you demand for, then ultimately the final decision will be that of the poll. Okay, so always this process will be first show of hands and then poll. Okay, now voting by poll, I'll give you exactly 5 minutes time. Go through all the paragraphs 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It is 6:45. Okay, by 6:50 you have to finish it. The paid up capital of rupees 5 lakh is not individual. That also is going to be with respect to all the people taken together. Okay. So the top thing that is given there, any member or members present in person or proxy will be holding for both the italics. Okay. For both the bullet points, it is valid. Yes, Satvik?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah, Farwa will be doing e-voting separately, okay? The entire section is there for electronic voting. When I come in there, I'll teach you that exactly, okay? Done, everybody? Okay. Now the procedure for scrutinizing the poll process. Okay, just imagine the election that happens in the country. Okay, we all have the elections, right? The state government, central government elections and all, where you see that you all go to a particular location, give your voting, and then 2-3 days the countings will take place, and then the result of the counting comes up when they have been declared and all that. The result will be monitored by some all sophisticated people. Okay, and it'll be counted. It is a very, now it is electronic, but earlier it was a very lengthy process when voting would be counted and full day the news will be going on. Okay, all of that. So if you have an imagination of that, and if you read the remaining points of scrutinizing, it will look same. Okay. So how polling happens is similar to that of, the electronic, the voting of the country. Okay. When voting in the country happens, the elections happen in the country, how voting is done, how process is taken place. Okay. All of that, if you read these points A to M, they're all the same. You can just have a quick imagination of that. Okay. So quickly go through all the points A to M. If there is any point where you feel things are not clear or the language is not understood by you, please let me know. Before you read, let me tell you one thing, that there are going to be certain scrutinizers are the people who will be appointed by the chairman, who will take care of the entire polling process. The papers on which you write your voting will be called as polling papers. Okay, they'll be called as polling papers. These polling papers, in that you have to enter your vote and you'll put it in a box. This box will be sealed, packed properly. Nobody can do any kind of manipulation there. Tampering cannot happen. So it will be put in a box. Then once everything is done, this box will be handed over to the scrutinizers, who will open up the box and do the counting of all the votes. If the votes are properly entered, then they will be considered. If there is ambiguity, unclearness, some people will write, oh, yes will look like no, no will look like yes. So things are, the way you have written is not understandable or it is not good, they'll be rejected straight away. And only those which are very clearly given, those will be counted for the purpose of voting. Ultimately, the scrutinizers will prepare a report. In this report, they will say whether the resolution is passed or not passed. And that they will hand it over to the chairman. And this chairman in that report will very clearly check how many votes are cast for, how many votes are cast against, how many votes are total. That is total, how many votes were there. Out of that, how many were considered to be valid votes. Okay. Yeah, Piyush. Usually they are company secretary, but even chartered accountants can be appointed. Okay. Then ultimately the chairman will get the report and the report will be signed by the scrutinizers. Okay. And then chairman also will countersign on this report prepared by the scrutinizers. And finally, the result of the poll will be declared by the chairman and will be entered in the minutes of the meeting. Is the concept clear, everybody? Now quickly go through all the points A to M. Everything will be looking very clear. Everything will be very clear. Just imagine, have an imagination in your mind, you'll be able to understand it. Okay. So let us continue with the next one. It's a very small thing that they gave exemption to private companies. You can just ignore that. What it only says is all the provisions that we are studying is all basically applicable to public companies. Private companies, if they want to change some of terms and conditions, they can do it by doing it in the articles of association. Okay, so that is just like a light one, which you can just read once and understand it. That's it. Okay. Then come to section 114, ordinary and special resolution. Ordinary resolution and special resolution. Okay, now everywhere we say that OR has to be passed, SR has to be passed. Okay, now for example, alteration of capital clause of memorandum. We said what? Ordinary resolution has to be passed. Appointment of auditors, ordinary resolution has to be passed. Declaration of dividend, OR has to be passed. Okay, similarly, reduction of share capital, special resolution has to be passed. Removal of the auditor, special resolution has to be passed. Okay, so what are these? All are special resolution, ordinary resolution. So what do you mean by them? The meaning is you have to see how many votes will be cast in and how many casts will be cast against. Okay, that is for and against counting will be defined as ordinary resolution and special resolution. Now, when the law says for this particular thing you require OR, that is ordinary resolution, the meaning of that is in the general meeting when votes are given, the votes cast in favor should be more than vote cast against. That means, suppose if there are total of 100, okay, 100 votes, then the votes cast in favor should be more than vote cast against. Like for example, suppose only 49 votes were for. So how many are against? 49. 49 are against, 51 are against. So vote cast in favor, are they more than vote cast against? No. So your OR is not passed. See, the very simple way of understanding is majority. But let us not learn majority. Let us learn the language given in law. Law says that the vote cast in favor should be more than the vote cast against. If you see indirectly, it means majority. But let us not use that language. The language that we will study will be ordinary resolution means the resolution where the votes cast for in favor shall be more than votes cast against. Okay, and a notice of general meeting has to be sent and then OR can be passed. Is the concept clear, everybody? On the same lines, special resolution, the votes cast in favor shall be at least 3 times the vote cast against. We will not study 75% or 3/4. Let us use a good language. The language is the vote cast in favor of resolution are not less than 3 times the vote cast against. Okay, now whenever special resolution has been passed, whenever SR you pass, you always file the SR with the registrar of the companies. OR need not be filed, but SR has to be compulsorily filed with the registrar of the companies within 30 days. Is the concept clear, everybody? Okay, so all of you, please come to page 7.25. I want you to read only the first 2 paragraphs of ordinary and special resolution. Done, everybody? Okay. Now, in case of companies, there is going to be a special power which is given to the chairman. Okay, we call it to be a casting vote. A chairman will have one extra vote with him because sometimes it so happens that neither special resolution can be passed nor ordinary resolution is passed because of equality of votes. So what will happen is 50% people vote for, 50% people vote against. So here we are not in the position to pass any resolution because equality of votes are happening. So in that situation, what happens is your articles of association should give the power to the chairman to pass a casting vote. Casting vote is an additional vote given to the chairman. We also call it to be a second vote. That means whenever equality of votes happen, just to pass the resolution, the chairman will be allowed to give a vote. Okay, and that vote will be called as the casting vote to pass the resolution. So if the chairman gives a casting vote as no, then the resolution will not be passed. If it says yes, resolution will be passed. But this will be allowed only and only if it is given in the articles. Second, nobody can force the chairman. If the chairman does not want to give a casting vote, he can deny for it. There's not going to be any pressure on the chairman to give compulsorily the casting vote. Okay, so all of you come to page number 7.26. Read the last paragraph, that is paragraph 5. Use of casting vote. Okay, now all of you please come to question number 7.21a. 7.21a and 21b. Finish both of them. The remaining two I'll give you as homework. 7.21a, 7.21b you're doing now in the class. The remaining two you will take it as homework. Once you are done, ping me and then we'll close the class. Do not hurry. Read the question very carefully. Analyze and make up the answer by yourself. If the answer is not understandable, please question me back. Do not read the answer. Prepare the answer and cross-check the answer. Only that is learning. If you directly read, it looks very easy. All right. So if you're done, we'll do the last one, which is very small. I'll question you, give me the answer. Okay. Is everybody with me? Any doubt in those questions? They're pretty simple. Okay, all right. The last one. Now, suppose today the meeting was supposed to be conducted on 10th of April. And on the date of the meeting, the quorum did not turn up. So we waited for half an hour and we postponed, that is, we adjourned the meeting. So now the meeting, as decided by the board of directors, was conducted on 25th of April. So 25th of April, the meeting was conducted and the resolutions were passed on 25th of April. Now tell me, will these resolutions passed on 25th April will be dated as 10th April or 25th April?
25th April.
So what will be the date of this resolution? Will it be considered to be directed to the original general meeting or to the adjourned general meeting? You know why we are studying this? Because we say, 30 days from the date of passing the resolution, 12 months from the date of passing the resolution, like buyback. It has to be completed within 12 months of passing a special resolution. So the time of passing special resolution is very important for us. Therefore, you need to understand what will be the date you'll consider for the SR. Will it be 10th April or will it be 25th April?
25th.
Yes,
25th April.
25th April. Okay. So let us take the last part, section 116. A resolution passed at the adjourned meeting, that is a general meeting or class of meeting or board meeting, shall be treated to have been passed on the date on which it was in fact passed and not on any earlier date. Clear, everybody? That means in my example, on 25th, we actually passed it. So the date of resolution will be 25th only. You cannot say redirect it or take it back to 10th of April and say, no, this resolution was passed with functions from 10th of April. Retrospective cannot happen. So it will be counted the 12 months, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. All of this calculation will happen from 25th April only. It will not be 10th of April. Is the concept clear, everybody? Okay. So that is it for today. The remaining will not be able to finish in 5 minutes time. So see that you tomorrow will take up the remaining part. Just 1 second. Just give me 1 second. Okay, you are going to do all the true or false, okay, which are given at the back. And 7.45 page number, there are 7 true or false given to you. See that you do all of them as a homework. And all the case studies which I've given it to you. Clear, everybody?
Ma'am,
Yes, Vashri?
ma'am, what is class meeting, ma'am?
Class meeting means, like, for example, audit committee is meeting, okay, board of directors meeting, sometime debenture holders meeting, sometime only preference shareholders meeting. So some class meeting will be going on, some class of people.
Okay, ma'am.
That will be called class meeting. Okay. All right. Now, all of you, please remember that we have left some case studies in the class today, which I've given you as homework. You will on priority do all of them. Do not leave it. They're all bonus in the examination. So if you leave, you will suffer for it. So see that you please complete it. Okay. So that is it for today. We'll meet up tomorrow and continue the topic. Thank you and good day, good night, all of you.